Welcome everyone, Adam the Woo here.
And Cody.
Today's adventure we're going to be roaming around some different areas of New Mexico, checking out the filming locations of No Country for Old Men.
That's right, Adam. It is the 2007 Coen Brothers film featuring Josh Brolin and Tommy Lee Jones. Gonna be checking it out.
And just to let you know, there will be spoilers. Things will be shown. If you have not seen the film, you might want to watch it beforehand, because we're going to show some screenshots and talk about what's happening.
Definitely one of my favorite movies out there for sure.
Inviting you to join me
and Cody.
Shall you? Things will be a bit out of order based on the route we are taking, but this empty lot was one of the climaxes of the movie. The side road is only 18 miles per hour. That's different. The Desert Sands Inn in El Paso was technically here in Albuquerque, and the light fixtures next to the street are a little bit different. You can kind of get your bearings. Take a look at that style with the little knobs up there and the formation of the light itself. Just a half a block over, a couple of these still remain to just kind of prove that they used to be here. See the little knobs up there? Everything is going amiss there as he pulls up. This is the angle. Corner of Jackson Street and Central Avenue. The building in the distance still remains.
At the Faux Lean Vietnamese Grill, and also where it says the Reef Noodle Soup, if you look right here, it's the same sign. They just changed the lettering on the top part.
A couple of landmarks where the sheriff pulls in and parks back here in the distance. It's a very unique looking restaurant, and the trees where the motel sign was, the way they kind of fork up at a different angle. That restaurant's still back there in the distance. And those trees, even though some of them have been chopped down, the roots and stumps still remain.
This here is the tree that was in the front in the planter. This piece is growing up a little bit, but right here at the bottom, they chopped it off where the stump's at. And this is the only remaining piece left from the original sign.
The entire complex is gone. This is where the motel office was, and the pool.
Over here is where the Carl's Jr. used to be. The building's still there, but now it's left abandoned. You can see the taller building in the background as well. Over this shoulder is where all the other rooms were, and which has now been demolished.
Indentation in the ground where that row was, and some relics there, a brick from the building in the room. We've been right here in that precise spot. Carla Jean pulled up, realizing something was wrong when the sheriff approached her and took his hat off. She saw the other officers and knew what had happened.
Retracing the steps from the sheriff driving down.
Little on the windy side, pretty much out in the middle of nowhere. That Texaco sign is gone, but the base still remains. The gas pumps are still over there, and the little store still out here, way out here.
next to the gas pumps, the car would have been parked right here in the front. And then off to the right-hand side is where it looks like the fuel containers are the same ones still sitting there.
Arts Auto Supply, still written there as well. The door behind Anton that swung open is this very door. It has kind of deteriorated over the years, but also when you peek inside the building through the window, a lot of the cork board is still up around the walls. Lots of furniture fills up the room. That back window is covered. There's like a set of drawers back there. This is about the best view angle, looking to where the guy who owned the shop was standing, and that tractor's still back there. Obviously can't get inside because it's locked, but looking out from where they were in there, there's that tractor. Hasn't moved in years. Behind the counter would have been right about here, where that ice chest of some sort is now. What's the most you've ever lost in a coin toss? Call it. About a half-hour commute to Las Vegas, New Mexico, where the remainder take place. The trailer park where he lived and pulled into is right here. And that particular trailer no longer exists. Everything else basically looks the same. Private residence, so I keep my distance, but I wanted to stop off real quick. About a quarter of a mile from the trailer park. Hotel. He's checking in, and the counter would have been there looking out that window. But when he wanted to switch rooms, she said, "That's got 2 double beds." Also, when he kind of meanders through this door right there, the light switches and everything, still the same. But he wasn't the only one staying on the premises. Also Anton booked a room. Number 130 is where his accommodations would have been. The rooms have been completely remodeled, but just imagine him walking out with his weapons of choice. Down the way there you can see a grill. That's 138. That's the other room. All the brickwork is all still the same where his room was. And if you get a little closer, it appears somebody's actually taken the numbers off of the door too. But this is room 138. They got a little souvenir. Yep. And they've replaced it with some makeshift numbers. Looks like made out of paper. About to use that tank to punch out the lock. Thankfully, Llewellyn had already moved. And Anton would have been standing right where that grill is. Use that as a frame of reference. You know, down the way is just a few feet. Went to the back rooms, which you can see here. 30 and 42 would have been the back rooms, but they don't exist. Also, this big brown pillar in the way right here has been added recently. Yeah, for like structural support. Yeah, it's all right next to the office. Just to clarify, around the back, just some storage. No rooms around the back, so he wouldn't have been able to camp out and get the briefcase through the air duct vent. Signage has changed just a bit. It's a motel, a screenshot, and it's an inn in real life. Moving on. Only about a half a mile away, what is now the Shark Bite Seafood Restaurant here at this motel is where Ed, Tom, and Carla Jean shared their meal. And I pointed that sign out because you could see it through the window.
This is where they're sitting inside the diner. If you pay attention to the rockwork behind him and the counter on those other side there, it's all the same. Unfortunately, it's temporarily closed, but if you look in there, that counter, the rockwork, is all still the same. And they would have been sitting just right there to the right-hand side of that table.
They're kind of to the left of that pole.
Yeah.
More or less, give or take.
That's what it looks like.
Into a local neighborhood, Carla Jean's residence. Didn't end so well. As he exited, you don't really know what happened. They leave it to the imagination, but he did look at his shoes, most likely wiping something off from the bottom of them as he exited the front door on the porch. There's some classic cars in this driveway as well. Still in a residential district, this one about a mile away from the last spot. A traffic light was placed dangling right across here, and the cars smashed into each other. Notice the formation of the roof line of that home, located right over here at this intersection. Quite an accident.
He comes stumbling out of the car here, walks right over to this curb in front of that house.
Reeling in pain.
Massive amounts of pain.
And where did he sit?
He sits just to the left side of that yellow painted part of the curb.
So where the yellow paint ends, sat down just there on the unpainted part of the curb.
The fence is exactly the same as it was. Anton then comes, sits down on the curb, just right here, right in between the yellow, those two cracks.
Then he gets up and starts to walk off. And that wasn't the only time he was seriously injured. Earlier in the picture, he showed up to the Mike Zoss Pharmacy, which is located right there in between those two vehicles. That blue car didn't stand a chance. There he is around the back, sticking a rag in his lighter into the gas tank. It's now an office products and printing facility. Some track lighting there up against the back wall as well, and that pole to the left of his head. Yep, all still, well, except for like some paper boxes and office chairs, still the same. This is a real estate office, but it was used as one of the interiors where Ed Tom looks out the far right door across the road at a truck pulling by, and the tarp was starting to flip up just a bit.
On the right side there, you can see that white pole. That's still the same. And also in the background, you can see a blue awning. If you look closely, coming up here, they've painted that awning red, but that white pole is still there. If you peek through the blinds here, you can see it says the El Fidel Hotel. And that is right here above us.
That was the clue in order to figure out the spot across the way. A telephone call was made, a payphone was set up on the side of this road. You see the bricks there with the advertisement up against the wall. Off in the distance, still has that same advert up there. Is that the right word, advert?
Advert's right.
Now the exteriors of this facade were never used, but the interiors were, however, for him to get some clothes and boots. Still looks the same, almost identical down to, you know, all the products that were on sale. And there's a sign up, you know, towards the top of the hat rack designated that it was in the film itself. And they let them leave up the name of their store above the door, as seen here, as he walks in, you know, asking to buy new clothes. He needed a whole new wardrobe after leaving the hospital. They were nice enough to let us in the back room where the restroom is. And right here is where he was spraying some medicine on his foot. Sitting on that commode, even the little toilet paper roll and the doors. See, there's one door here and the other door right over there. Llewellyn eventually checks into his accommodations at Eagle Pass. In reality, it's the Plaza Hotel. Also the same one that Carson Wells was staying at, played by Woody Harrelson. The front desk used to sit right about where this couch is. You can see what it looked like in the film itself as he enters the front door. The front desk now resides back in the corner called the conservatory. Looks a whole heck of a lot different. My best educated guess is it was under a complete remodel. Made it appear as if he went outside to the alley, but in reality it was this back little alcove. As he kind of peeks around the staircase looking up, that's it. And they've documented another scene here with Woody Harrelson as well on the wall in this frame. Also notice the fire alarm is still mounted on the wall there as he came through these doors a little later. Getting the precise spot of where he fell down to the concrete is tough because of these trucks that are parked up here, but the window was right up there. And notice the tree lines and the gazebo in the park, which are behind him. Not a short fall looking out the general vicinity angle from his window into the park.
Hello, Adam. Let's go to your room.
Now that nightfall has reared its head and the sun has gone down, we're going to get some of the evening shots. This was a toughie. It took us a while to figure it out. The back of that alley was a wall, which you could see there, and there are some bars on the side of the brick which are still remaining. What confused us was this certain section where he's standing against two different partitions. You could see how it kind of embeds outward, the brick there with the chips in it. Almost gave up until after doing a little bit of investigative work, discovered that the cracks are still here. At first glance, thought it extended out, but in reality it did not extend at all. The second portion was in the middle of this. But if you match up that particular crack and that particular chip and the one down here at the bottom, really kind of get it. Let's look at the screenshot again. The notch right there on the right, about his eye level and his elbow level, and those notches there are one and the same. You see the portion where they've chiseled it away there in the middle at the top to provide room for the awning that now is up top. Here's the opposite perspective as he's running directly out of the alley towards the street. This is the spot.
So at this moment, Llewellyn came running down towards this pillar in pain, leaned up against the side where there was a bunch of tile, which has now since been removed. Looks down to the other corner down here at this other building, which you can see where the truck comes pulling out, looking for a way out. Don't mind that bank sign on the corner. Originally, that Murphy sign was actually there, but they moved it. And here he goes. Llewellyn running to the truck in massive amounts of pain, just like we did here. If you look closely.
Oh, it's getting intense. In this stranger's truck, I'm driving it from the passenger seat. All I gotta do is make it down past the end. Oh wait, I see. There's no noise. It's in silence mode, but I see the flash coming from the side of the road there. That's Anton. The truck veers out of control over the curb in this very parking lot. car's in the way.
The truck comes barreling in and smashes into some cars right there next to that gate. And if you notice, that 30-mile-an-hour speed limit sign is still there.
Sure is. Right up there in the foliage. Left to sit right here. That neon sign is gone, but the building with the arches behind it still remains.
Llewellyn then runs across, after getting out of the truck, runs across the road to this building that is non-existent anymore. It has been torn down. He ducks behind a car and then looks in the reflection of the glass to Anton walking towards him. And does he find him? Anton's looking through the truck. Llewellyn comes out from behind the other car, walks towards him, fires. Anton ducks behind another car, and he got hit. Llewellyn comes over here to try to find Anton right behind the car, which was sitting right here, that Anton dove behind. He comes up, sees a blood trail on the ground, looks to his right, notices that the blood trail goes towards the alleyway, right down here. Anton is nowhere to be found.
The next step is to cross the border. That bridge over past the used car lot. That's the ticket. There's the bridge. Over these used cars. A little bit of a walk. Gotta head over there. Standing in the direct middle of the bridge, constructed the facade of the overlay, the US border down there, and into Mexico, that direction. The top of the corner there, that's the briefcase being tossed over the fence line, and he kind of climbed up on a pole that was wedged down in that concrete section. Also, you see the way the fence is there with that little cross portion, which signifies the spot it was at. As soon as it goes into focus, there's that cross portion, and the building beside it still the same. And then about 30 or 40 feet away down the bridge, these shrubs, similar to the ones it landed in.
Were you in a car accident or something?
I'll give you $500 for that jacket.
Show me the money. Let me see the money.
All I have is $1.
You're about $4.99 short. That's all I have. That's fine. I don't even really need it anyway, to be honest. You have to. It's your lucky day, bud. So, is this my jacket from earlier?